Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel, Getting Off the Table, special video series that we have on our channel where we're taking really fun ideas to get your players off the table during the campaign so the overall experience is a lot more immersive. Now this particular topic is one that I personally love. It can be, you might feel a little skittish with some of these, but trust me, when you add these aspects to the campaign, your players will love it. They'll be talking about it. They'll be sharing about it. Now in this video, I'm going to be bringing you 4 different ideas. One of them, you're going to think that it may be a bit over the top, but I've done all of them. And so I'm speaking from experience that for me, they've all worked. So first off, let me just say that with these, you don't have to have a horror-themed campaign in order to include an element that's potentially scary or to get them outside of their comfort zone. Especially if you're going for something immersive, the players are going to want to really imagine themselves there. So anything, whether it be props or music or lighting or whatever you use, you want to bring this world to life, make it real for them. And getting their adrenaline going, getting their heart pumping is a great way. The first one, it's very, very simple but super effective. If you live in an apartment complex, it's easier, but otherwise, if you're at home, you need to be have a door, a front door. Ask a neighbor, a friend, someone, preferably a neighbor, and just say, hey, are you going to be home at this time? We're going to be doing this. And have a text ready. Have your phone ready. They're ready too, so that if you say, hey, queue like in 1 to 2 minutes, they will come down and stand outside your door. And then when you send the second text, like now, they will bang on the door really loud. Now, this is something to where players won't be expecting it, but if it's timed just right, and then remember, your neighbor can go back home. They just need to come down, bang on the door, however you want. If it's a secret knock, if it's just a really loud bang, it can be really, it'll make them all jump. If they're, let's say they're in a temple or they're in a banquet hall, and the castle's being sieged, you know, and they're trapped inside, and then all of a sudden you say, and then they began a battering ram banging on the door, and then bam, bam, bam. They will all jump. They will love it. They'll be laughing about it. Again, so simple, yet it's so effective. Now you can only do it once, but with that crowd, otherwise they'll be expecting it. But still, you'll get a great jump scare, a great laugh, and they will be there. They will be wondering what you have planned next. Okay, number 2. Give them an opportunity to walk through a really dark room holding only a candle. Now, this can be extremely effective. You need to black out the room though, and that's probably the most challenging part, especially if you are playing during the day. If you're able to achieve it, depending on where you're playing, or what room you have available to prep ahead of time, just shut the door. It doesn't have to be anything in the room per se. You might want to remove obstacles so they don't trip, but if you play the right music and they're walking around looking for something, it could be a clue, a coin, medallion, something. In the campaign, you just explain to them, hey, when you go in the room, you begin searching for it, and then you tell them which room to go to. They go in, and with a candle, they're snooping around. Also, too, I have done this before, to where I did the same thing, except for instead of blacking out the room, we filled it full of fog. You know, like an industrial fog machine. Just filled the room. And so we explained all they had to do was go to the other side of the room, get the information that they needed, and then come back, right? But in this particular adventure that I planned, I had a couple of people that were kind of mangled, kind of like zombies. They weren't zombies, but they kind of looked like it in the sense where they were bloody and you know, looked like they were hurting. So as the players were walking through the fog, you can't see anything. You can't see this in front of your face. So you're just kind of going through. And then the characters would grab onto their legs while they're walking. They only had to walk like 10 feet. Would grab on, like clawing up their bodies until they could see their face and just be screaming, "Help me! Help me!" It was beautiful. It didn't take much. It just took a couple people volunteering, which If you explain to people, hey, this is what I'd like you to do, would you be willing to do it? So many people enjoy that kind of stuff. They're like, yeah, what the heck, I'll do it. It's a Friday night. They have fun, and it's a great time had by all, right? At any rate, that was just a bonus on how else I've used it. You can put someone like that in this dark room. That's up to you. Of course, they'd have to be hidden, but that's all logistics, where you're playing, how you're playing, and who you have available, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's again, key. Use the right music. Experiment with different kind of music. Without the music, it could be quite flat. With the music, it could really kind of make it scary. Okay, number 3. Okay, this one might take a little bit more planning. At least you need a willing volunteer. Someone who can dress up like a werewolf or some other kind of monster. I'm going to use, in my example, a werewolf because that's what I use. But once you get the concept, you can use anything you want. A vampire, you can use whatever else that'll fit inside your campaign. It was a simple task. What they needed, an alchemist needed a certain ingredients for a potion, so they collected different things. Well, one thing they needed in my campaign was they needed fur from a werewolf. So I actually sent them out, and with instructions and a way to do it and where to find a werewolf that was laying in the forest asleep. So it's just a friend I had who dressed up, and he went all out, and so he laid there. We got some fake fur and just kind of spirit gummed it to his hand so that it was stuck, but it wasn't stuck. You could just sort of, peel it off easily without it hurting or anything. And he would just lay there asleep. And so the character, or the players, had to sneak up on the werewolf. Oh my goodness. He had to sneak up on the werewolf and take the hair off of his hand and get away. And there was a potential for them to die. So, like, if they were instructed, I forget exactly how, but they understood that if the werewolf touched them, then that whoever they touched would die. So there was this feeling of, oh no, we got to do this. He can't touch us, and if he chases us, he can't touch us. So it was a very tense moment. But they snuck up, and of course, as soon as they took the hair off, he woke up and just made a huge growling sound, and it scared him. They ran. And it was a great moment. Again, one of those things where they're talking about years later. One thing that was in place, and it really made the story come alive. And it really talk about immersion. Hey everyone, a quick PSA. If you'd like to support this channel, we have a whole line of specially aged paper. This paper aging technique is actually something that we've developed over the past 30 years, doing hundreds, if not thousands, of adventures that have been facilitated all over the planet. What's special about this paper? This isn't stained with tea or coffee. This is a special technique that we've developed and have experimented with to get it just right, to where it doesn't just look old, but it actually feels old. There is a quality to it to where during our aging process, it actually loosens the fibers just a little bit, so that when you pick it up, it doesn't feel like a brand new sheet of computer paper, something that you'd grab out of the printer. It feels a little coarser, a little rougher, but also what's great is they will go through most laser printers, and we have a variety of things. We have over 70 to choose from. This one has a compass rose on it. We have Egyptian, and we have Middle Eastern. We have all different kinds with different motifs. Just blank if you want it blank. But it's a great way to add more fun to your gaming experience, where your players can actually feel something that doesn't look like or feel like you just printed it off your printer. And if you look in the description, you'll see a link to where you can see all the ones that we offer. Thanks, guys. Okay, number 4. And this one's going to sound the gnarliest, but oh man, this was, I loved it. It was amazing. It had just the effect I was going for. Okay, when my son turned 18, I did a werewolf hunt specifically for him and his friends, okay? That was in the city. So there was some back at the part of the campaign was back at our home, but then they did have to go out and do a couple things, right? Okay, this is what I did. I made a carcass. I got some fur, like some fake fur you can get at the craft store, just a swatch, kind of cut it up into a shape that looked like it was like ripped apart. So whatever those cuts are, just kind of scraps. Like I think I had like 2 or 3 pieces. Before that, I had saved up bones from chicken, from really whatever meals we had. Made sure they were all cleaned off and dried and things like that. On one of them, I wrote with a marker, a black marker, I wrote some writing, like ancient writing or werewolf writing, according to lore, on one of the bones. Okay. So then, under a certain bridge at a park, a place that I knew they'd have access to, but would be pretty secluded, like nobody would notice them. I wrapped up the bones inside this, the fur, and I put stage blood mixed with baby oil and some gooey noodles, mushed bananas inside with the bones. Basically, what they knew and what they were instructed to do was to find certain kills that this new werewolf in town had committed. He was starting small with animals, working his way up to possibly people. So they had to stop him early, but they needed to know what kind of werewolf. So, and by the kind, they mark the bones when they eat in a certain way to identify what kind of werewolf they are. Hence, that's why they needed to go find a kill, and they need to examine the bones. I'm telling you, these are 18-year-old tough guys. They're all together, and they saw this roadkill is what it looked like under the bridge, and it's dark, so they only have their flashlights, so they're not getting a great look at it. It's very obscured, but they just see the blood, and they know they have to reach inside with their bare hands to feel around and to get the bone out. Only one was willing to do it, but that's fine. And as long as one of them does it, and he reaches in, and it was really quite the experience. But if we're talking about really wanting to immerse your players into what they're doing, where they really are hunting for a werewolf, and it's not going to be pleasant. It's not always going to be just clean and convenient, just rolling the dice. You give them something like that, and once again, years later, my son's now 24, still it's a great memory of that time of just seeing that roadkill and knowing that they were going to have to put their hand inside. Even though they knew that it wasn't real, it looked real, and if you're really getting involved in the game, then it becomes real. Yeah, so again, it may sound super gnarly, incredibly effective. Well, there you have it. 4 ways to elevate your immersion on a scary level, a horror level, just something to excite the senses, to help them to remember. Again, it doesn't have to be a horror-themed campaign to include one scary element, something that will get them outside their comfort zone. Even if they're reluctant to do it at first, if they know they have to do it in order to complete the campaign, you'll find that they do it, at least again, in my experience. Consider these and other ways, and thanks for watching the video. If you like this content, please like this video, subscribe, join us as we're bringing out more and more fun ideas on how to get off the table in your tabletop gaming. Take care, everyone.